So Konnor Griffin will not be on the opening day team. I will say I am surprised, but not terribly shocked, and I still would expect him to see in Pittsburgh sooner rather than later. Good morning, and welcome to OffBeat here on North Shore 9, presented by FanDuel. My name is Alex Stumpf. This is a daily 15-minute look at your Pittsburgh Pirates, and there was no bigger story this weekend than Konnor Griffin being reassigned to minor league camp. I get the initial reaction is some level of disappointment because there is so much excitement for this possibility that Konnor Griffin could go from being a first round pick in 2024 to the top prospect in 2025 to cracking the majors as a teenager in 2026. He still could, it's just not going to be on the opening day team. And to be candid, I saw some good stuff from him this spring. I also saw some stuff that he could continue to develop, some stuff that he could continue to develop in Indianapolis, some stuff that he has not had the opportunity before, this spring training to do. It was a small sample size. It was a small opportunity to do something great because you're not going to see major league quality pitching in Greensboro. You're not going to see major league quality fastballs in Bradenton. He got kind of thrown into the fire. And I would absolutely not call this spring a failure or anything like that. Like, oh, he didn't make the team, therefore he failed. No, I saw some good things. I also saw some things that were like, yeah, maybe you don't rush the most important player in your farm system. Maybe you make sure that he's got better footing underneath him. And I want to just reiterate before we get into this. I think Konnor Griffin is going to be a great baseball player for years to come. Doesn't mean that it has to start this week in New York. So let's talk about why he didn't make the team. And I talked about this a little bit in the first offbeat, but I really want to hammer it home. He did not hit fastballs. He just didn't hit fastballs that well. 0.95 batting average, no extra base hits, so an 0.95 slugging percentage against fastballs this spring training that were tracked. Whenever you look at the spray chart, there is a lot to the right side. That indicates that he's late on the ball. A ground ball to second base on a fastball means you are late. There is nothing to left field. Do you remember those old Cabrian Hayes spray charts? It really looked like that. There's some hard hit ground balls to third, but grounders, that's not really going to do you all that much. So that's an issue. And this is, I think, the biggest issue right here. This is just a freebie or a little present for the video people watching this on YouTube. But here are Konnor Griffin's whiffs against fastball this spring training. That's right down the middle. Those are pitches right down the middle that he's missing. And that's fine. Look, it's a small sample size. It's the first time that he's really seen velocities this high, where he's seeing movement this profound. But the Pirates really do look. That's one of the things that they look at whenever they determine, is this guy ready for the major leagues? And it's, how do you perform against major league quality fastballs? And a lot of that's like, okay, 95 plus. Griffin didn't do well. He had a 31.6% whiff rate against sliders, too, and a 44.4% whiff rate against changeups. No hits against either of those two pitches. If you're not hitting fastballs well and you're not hitting sliders or changeups, like that's going to be a big portion of what you see. Now, obviously, he would get some hits if the sample size was bigger. I'm not saying like he was just whiffing, he was wailing out there. There's never a point this spring where I'm like, he looks really uncomfortable at the plate. There's stuff to work through, there's stuff to develop, to continue to grow, but that's what you expect from a 19-year-old. Nobody wants to be the best version of themselves at 19. Konnor Griffin is not the best version of himself at 19. He is going to be better in his 20s. So I see these not to justify the reason why the Pirates reassigned him to minor league camp, but just to show some things that I saw that were like, well, maybe there is some room to grow. Maybe there is some stuff he has to prove before he gets up to the major leagues. And he could be up at the major leagues not terribly long from now, theoretically. The two sides have talked contract. The two sides obviously are engaged with like what is going to be a long-term relationship between the two parties. Even if he gets called up within the first 15 days, he could be eligible for that draft pick. The Pirates could be eligible for the draft pick if he wins Rookie of the Year. So it's not like, well, you're just potentially risking a full year of service time anyway. No, they could still get the draft pick. There's also the chance that Konnor Griffin doesn't win Rookie of the Year. I think people forget that the Pirates have another Rookie of the Year candidate on their roster in Bubba Chandler. So, like, maybe Konnor doesn't even get the full year of service. And, that changes the calculus of what his future with this organization looks like. I am just saying that in the last 50 years of Pirates baseball, there had been one teenage hitter who had made the team, and that's Aramis Ramirez in 1998. I can't be shocked that he didn't make the team because this was such a rapid ascension upwards that at some point you just need reps. At some point you are going to hit a pothole. And I think that's all this is right now. Like, this is barely a bump in the road, in my opinion, because going from being drafted out of high school in 2024 to starting the year in Indianapolis, AAA, widely regarded as the top prospect in baseball, and seemingly being ready for the majors not too far from now, that is beyond a top 1% outcome of a draft pick. Like, of all the ways this journey could have gone, this is still in like the top 1% of the best case scenario. He is still the top prospect in baseball. He is still really liked by the organization. He is still going to be, in my opinion, a great baseball player one day. I think we all like the whimsy of him making an opening day team, but there's only so far you can go. We're going to take a break here for a second, throw it over to Cody. Then we'll come back to talk a little more shortstop.
This episode is brought to you by IQ Bar, our exclusive snack hydration sponsor. IQ Bar protein bars, IQ Mix hydration mixes, and IQ Joe mushroom coffees are the delicious, low-sugar, brain and body fuel you need to win your day. The Ultimate Sampler Pack is a great way for you to try all IQ Bar products and flavors. You get 9 IQ bars, 8 IQ Mix sticks, and 4 IQ Joe sticks. All IQ Bar products are clean label certified and entirely free from gluten, dairy, soy, GMOs, and artificial ingredients. With over 20,000 5-star reviews and counting, more people than ever are fueling their lifestyles with IQ Bar's brain and body boosting bars, hydration mixes, and mushroom coffees. The Ultimate Sampler Pack includes all 3. My personal favorites so far have been the almond butter chip and the iced tea lemonade hydration mix. It's just really full of flavor. I love starting my day with it, and I couldn't imagine starting my day with anything else other than IQ Bar products. Right now, IQ Bar is offering our podcast listeners 20% off all IQ Bar products, including the Ultimate Sampler Pack, plus free shipping. To get your 20% off, text MLB to 64,000. That's MLB 64000. Message and data rates may apply. See terms for details.
So Konnor Griffin isn't going to be the opening day shortstop. And looking at a bunch of other moves the Pirates made on Sunday, no Alika Williams, it really looks like, okay, it's going to be like Nick Gonzalez at short, maybe some Jared Chulo with Nick York at third. Like, there is no one here at shortstop that it's like, well, that's just their job now, in my opinion. There's no one who is going to take the job away from Konnor. I talked last week in an episode about how it would be advantageous just to get as much of a look at Nick Gonzalez this year as you can, because you just have so much of a future at second base, so many options there, that you kind of need to get a sense of who is going to go where, how does everyone fit into the team. And I would say this is an opportunity for Nick Gonzalez to establish himself or reaffirm, and for at least a short period of time, that yes, I am part of this team moving forward. I am part of just what this organization wants to do. That's fine. It's Connor's job whenever he is ready. And after laying out a bunch of things that I didn't really like seeing from Konnor uh, so far this spring, I have to talk about some of the things I did. Some of those home runs against breaking balls, yeah, they hung. You know what a lot of hitters do whenever you get a hanging breaking ball? They swing through it. They get off balance. They get ahead. He did a tremendous job a couple times just staying with the ball, following through like a really good swing. And yeah, the home runs, I subscribe that home runs are usually more pitched than hit, but you still have to execute. And then whenever he did get those opportunities, he executed. That's really good. There were a couple times in the field where he didn't quite make the play. Like I saw a couple times whenever I went up to Bradenton earlier this month, ground ball, he'd make a diving play, he'd get up, he'd throw it, like just not quite get the ball is like one of those 99% hit probabilities. But the fact that he made it exciting and the fact that he showed how close he was one of those like, okay, he can really field this position. We know the tools. We know he can run. We know he can hit. We know he can throw. He's a minor league gold glover already. He could be a stud at the position defensively. The offensive upside is there. Even in this spring where, he didn't hit his best, where he was learning on the fly, where he was facing a level of pitching that he had never seen before, he still homered 4 times. Like over the course of a season, that's a 24, 25 homer pace. Anyone going to argue about getting that from a teenager? No, there's a lot there that I like. But like I said, you don't see major league quality pitching in Greensboro. You can in Indianapolis. It's not going to be the cream of the crop, but you are going to see guys who are going to be either called up to the majors full time at some point, or at the very least, bounce between the majors and minors. You could see those you could see those fastballs. You could see that shape. You could see that velocity. You could see how do I get my hands in faster, because he was really challenged. I know the whiffs were, pretty much right down the middle. He was really challenged inside and up this spring. And that's a really tough pitch to hit, especially whenever it's coming in 97, 98. Learning how to get the hands in and get good contact and make sure you're able to drive that ball to left field and not just roll it over to second base. These are just things that I say casually because I have no doubt in my mind that he's going to be able to go into the lab and work on these things and improve on these things. This is a real easy thing for me to say, like matter of fact, like, yeah, he's got to learn how to hit a 98-mile-per-hour pitch to, down the line and left, because I think the sky is the limit for this kid. It doesn't mean that it has to be at 19, though. You don't get bonus points for making the opening day team. You can still be an impact player. You can still be maybe the second most important player on this roster. Like outside of Paul Skeens, who is more important than Konnor Griffin? Like we can talk like, yeah, O'Neal Cruz could take that next step. Yeah, Brian Reynolds could be an all-star again, but it's like this shortstop is an area of need, and what he can provide is greater than pretty much any player the Pirates could acquire in free agency or trade. I have full belief that Konnor Griffin is going to still be an impact player for the Pirates in 2026. He won't be in New York. I think we'll see him before sooner rather than later. I don't think this is going to be like Bubba last year, where it was August and we were all just throwing our hands up like, what are we doing here? Where is Bubba Chandler? No, I think he'll be up sooner rather than later if I had to take a guess. Thank you so much for listening to Offbeat here on North Shore 9 presented by FanDuel. If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe either here on YouTube so you can see those fun baseball savant graphs or wherever you find fine podcasts. Thank you so much for listening. We'll talk again tomorrow.
All right, that wraps up this episode of North Shore 9. Thanks so much for tuning in. Whether you're listening on the podcast or catching us on YouTube, if you enjoyed the show, please give this video a thumbs up and don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. It really helps us grow. And if you're listening on the podcast, a quick review goes a long way in helping others find the show. Plus, be sure to tell a friend about us. There's always room for more here in the NS9 community. And for those looking to support us a little more, consider joining our Patreon, become an MVP member, and get exclusive perks while helping us continue to bring you more of the Pirates content you love. Thanks again for all your support, and let's go Bucks.